Hello and welcome back to another episode of RC Icons. I'm in my camper. So yes, I'm away on holiday and I am in the back of my camper. I have a toy hauler and I'm able to set it up with a workbench so that I can build cars while I'm on vacation. And I figured I would shoot an episode from here. I figured, what the hell? So we don't have our normal setup in the studio. I was trying to think of some cars that I could build that I could bring to build that would just be fun, right? Nothing that's crazy vintage where I should be in the studio. So I tried to pick cars that might already be on YouTube, to be completely honest, so that way if the video is kind of a flop or if it doesn't come out very well, you've probably all seen these cars get built before. So what I have here is a Rere Javelin. I figured this would be a fun one to build. I've never built an Optima chassis before, so I figured this one would be a great one to do. And then I didn't have to worry about painting a body with it, right? So I actually have, I brought some other body kits with it. So I have the mint green one. I'm not doing it in the orange, so I'm actually going to save the orange one probably for my original Javelin. I'd like to redo that one and put the orange on that. So I brought the green one, although my green wing is unordered. I had sent my other green wing to Glenn when I sent him the Javelin kit. So I brought a black wing just in case. So I have a green body kit with a black wing, and then I have a full yellow set, which is probably the set that I would put on here for the time being, just to see, at least it would all match at the very least. So I could take us through the entire build with the yellow body set and not be using the orange one that I am saving for the original. Although my original has an original black body set on it that looks killer, so we may end up keeping it that way. So I'd say let me bring the camera over so that I can show you the kit, but the camera's kind of over. So kit presentation. So when we take the box cover off, this is essentially what we're looking at, right? So the Legendary series, Kyosho has done a great job with the Legendary series as far as keeping it real and doing the blister packs. This is a chain drive or a belt drive. They give you the option because when Kyosho does their reres, they build the kits so that you can throw more power at it if you want. So it does have the belt drive version, although we're going to build it with the chain drive. So yeah, just a very unique kit presentation as far as, you know, that old school look with the blister pack mentality. And then as we open up the kit boxes themselves, we'll have all our parts bags in here. So we have our plastic parts bag. Our other plastic parts bag. I think it's hilarious how they label them. We have our tires, which are crazy soft. I actually have a set of the OT30s. I think it's the OT30s that are original to the Javelin. These ones, the Rere ones, they're good. You definitely need to use the foams because of how soft they are. You can get some awesome tire riding on them because the Sand Super is huge, but they are real soft. Real soft. So they would wear really quick. In the event that you were to run it on asphalt, crazy quick. So we're going to build it with the Rere tires on it. Glenn had made a comment that it looked tractor-like, and I would have to agree. I think the Rere tires are a little bit wider than their original OT30s as well. But it kind of is what it is. You know, that's what's kind of fun about this, is you can cater it to what you want it to be. And then I do have a carbon fiber kit for this car as well. Of course, I didn't bring it on vacation with me. You're always going to forget something. And I forget the original wheels and tires. And then I also forgot the carbon fiber kit. But that's all right. We're just going to build it metal. And then maybe we'll put the carbon fiber kit on later. I don't know if I would do another video on it or not. But I don't want to put out, I'm not interested in putting out the exact same content as Glenn. Glenn and I are great friends. We're not trying to copy each other. It just so happens that we're into a lot of the same stuff. We have a lot of the same cars, so some of our builds are going to be somewhat repetitive. Not because either one of us is trying to steal views from the other. It's not like that with us. Just so happens that we happen to have a lot of the same cars. So we've got all our metal parts bags, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. We have a spare parts bag from Kyosho, which is great. They always have a tendency to give you spare parts. And then we've got our orange body kit, which, like I said, we probably won't be using. If anything, we would be using the driver figure, but I don't have anything here to paint the driver figure, so at this point the driver figure will not be going on. So that's everything out of the kit. So I'm going to start opening bags and start the build process here, and I'll bring you back when I've got something to show you. And yes, I've got my camping attire on. No RC Icon shirt, no RC Icons hat, no RC Icons anything. Today was actually the Triple Falcon giveaway finale results. Today's October 8th. And you're saying, but I saw you in the studio this morning. Yeah, well, I filmed that video yesterday on Friday the 7th because I knew I was going away and I wasn't going to be able to do that video in the studio. So I apologize to anybody that like put an entry in as of like yesterday afternoon or later. Unfortunately, the video was already made, but as a YouTube creator, it's kind of, forgot that the driver figure is decals. As a YouTube creator, sometimes we have to do things ahead of when we would normally do it because we have a life, and I had to get a camper ready to go camping. So, but that's all right. If you tried to enter late and you didn't end up in the running for the Falcons, like I said in that video, we have a lot more giveaways to do. So, not the end of the world. We just get you into one of the next ones. To all the people that were kind of saying, you know, I never win anything. So, you know, I'm not surprised I never win anything. Well, let me tell you, I've never won anything either. It's just the nature of it. If you're going to have 303 people and 3 cars, unfortunately, there's going to be 300 people that didn't win. And I get it, but you know, don't let it get you down. Like it is what it is. You know, not everybody can win a free car. But George Stewart thought he would never win anything either, right? He won an original egress, so you just never know. Continue to enter, continue to have fun with it. That's what it's all about. It's about just having fun. And yeah, the rest of it, it is what it is, you know. So yeah, I'm gonna get these opened up and we'll start building this. I'm looking forward to it. It should be a blast. And like I said, I'll get you back here when I have something to show you. Thanks. So steps 1 and 2 are done. I ran into an issue right from the get-go. One of the 4 diff outdrives, they're supposed to be drilled for obviously a pin, and it's supposed to be drilled for a pin to hold the gear, and 3 are drilled, the 4th one was not. So literally the outdrive could essentially, and I put it in the front, can just pop right out, right? So goes back in easy enough, but I'm gonna have to rip this front diff apart and put a new one in that's drilled. I didn't dare try drilling it myself. It's a little precise. So yeah, right in step 1, and you know, dealing with an issue. So we're able to put the diff together at the very least to build the car, but it's not ideal. So they feel great. They're gear diffs, just greased, and they do feel great. So next step, I'm up to step 3. We'll be starting to assemble the rear gearbox with the rear counter drive. So I just need to locate that gearbox. I think this is it here. Appears to be the gearbox. Sorry for the kids yelling and screaming in the back. Yeah, so there's the gearbox there. So I'll get going again here. FRP radio plate, all brandy new. So yeah, I'll get this step 3 started here with the chain, and I'll bring you back when I get something to show you after this is put together maybe. Hey Sophie. Whole family's here. Alright, so I'm done through step 5. I've got the front diff in, and if I spin it, sounds great, working great. So the next step is going to be to get the, that's for belt drive. So if it's belt drive, you got to put the guards on. It's not showing anything for chain drive. I don't know if there's supposed to be a chain guard drive or not, guard or not. I'm assuming it should be guarded either way. So I'll take a look and see if it fits on there or not. Like I said, I'm not sure. They give you a couple pieces of polycarbonate here. Get them out. So yeah, they give you a couple plastic pieces to make the guard up, and then there's probably another plastic guard somewhere in this mess. Rear bumper, front bumper, there it is. There's our chain guards. I would have to assume that it's not an open chain like the Marui Samurai. It's funny because some people say it's called the Samurai because if you stick your finger in there while you're running it, it'll chop your fingers off. And that one is a true open chain. So, these are your chain guards here. So, let me move forward here trying to figure this out. Kyosho is always just a little bit different if you're not used to it, but kind of is what it is. Do not over tighten, no direction. You would think one of them would be for a belt and one of them would be for a chain, but it's not really showing which one's which. So let me try some things out here and I'll bring you back. Alright, so I got the covers on. So it doesn't matter which way, if you're belt or chain, you still follow the directions the same way. So that assembly is done. Moving fine. Feels great. So now we're going to put that to the side, and then step 7 we're going to start messing with the motor guard, and I'm assuming the motor plate. Getting that sandwiched on with the frame rails down here at the bottom, and whatever these pieces are. I'm not sure if they're brackets of some kind. So I got to get these pieces cut out of the blister packs, and we'll keep moving forward. Alright, so you have to apologize the buzzing noise. I'm charging some batteries for the X-Max and Creighton for the boys. So the charger's humming. So this is where we're at. That gets us through step 8. Gorgeous. All the alloy chains are in, or chain is in. Front suspension mount. So that gets us through all of step 8, putting the back end together, getting the motor plate and stuff done. And then step 9 will be opening bag C. And looks like we're going to continue with the rear end and then get the front chassis plate connected. Sorry, the four-wheeler's running in the background. Again, I'm on vacation. So I figured I'd bring you back. I actually kind of, I don't want to say I forgot the film, but when I last left you, we were starting on bag C. So I put the front skid plate assembly together, which is putting this plastic bracket onto the skid plate itself and then mounting it with some screws. And then it has you mount the radio plate support, which actually holds the belt cover. It's got two little fingers here that actually grab it and hold it in place. But it has you put that on. So I did that first of all. So that's your skid plate there in the front. That's that plastic bracket. And then there's your radio plate support. And after that, it had you working on a servo saver, which actually comes assembled. It shows a breakdown of it, but that's all assembled. You just need to put the ball ends on it. So there's a threaded ball end and a female ball end that just go through, and then the second arm you just build up, and then you put those together, and there's a plate that bridges the chassis that holds the belt tensioner, kind of pinches it down, and then the arm that connects the two together. So I got that put in. So it might be a little bit hard to see, but you can kind of see it. That's the side of it, and you can kind of see it from the top view, the bell crank. So that's all set. And then it had you put the front side supports on. My only gripe is they punch them all the same. So you have a finished side. So that's your finished side, and it's all nice and rounded over and looks really nice. And then you have a sharp side, and because they punch them all the same and you got to use a left and a right out of the same part, then you end up with a sharp side on one side and then a nice finished side on the other. So that would be my only kind of real gripe, is that, you know, Kyosho doesn't actually stamp a left and a right so that you don't have a sharp side. Small gripe, but it is what it is. So now it's got me assembling what I'm going to assume is a slipper clutch. They're calling it a counter gear, but you know, it's got spacer plates and almost like friction pads, slipper pads. So I'm going to assume it's a slipper clutch, and it's actually got you know, the spring with the nut. So I would assume that it's a slipper clutch, although they don't call it a slipper clutch anywhere in the manual. Then it's got us making some rod ends, and it looks like we'll be starting to get, you know, at least the front and rear rod ends in. Rear shock tower is going to be going in. Of course, that's going to be bag D. So let me get the slipper clutch done and get the rod ends made, 2 for the front, 2 for the rear. They're pretty close to the same size. One's 19 mil, the other one's 20.5 mil, so they're pretty close. But let me get that done, and then I'll bring you back when we open up bag D, or I'll get a step or two through the beginning of bag D and bring you back. So far, it's been an awesome build. It's different. I've never done an Optima chassis before, so it's different in that sense. Like I said, I built the Optima Mid Custom Special, but that was, the manual was in all Japanese. So that one, I kind of had to work my way through. It was a little bit of a struggle, but not too bad. But so this one's obviously all in English, a little bit easier, but just, you know, different as far as trying to orient where the parts are. But we're getting through it. So I'll bring you back here as soon as I get something to show you. All right, so as promised, slipper clutch is in. Chain feels great. Went together pretty simple. And then had us make the arms, like I said, and then open bag D, get the front shock tower together with front shock mounts and get the arms in place. So that was done, and then get the rear shock tower together and get that in place with the rear arms. So we're going to move on to step 16, which is getting the front and rear suspension arms on. So it's got us putting the front arms on and the rear arms on. And then Step 17 is going to be getting the front hubs together. And then it's got us putting it in with the dog bones. And then it's got us making up the steering arms. So it's got us pretty much wrapping up the front end, and then it's got us moving over to the rear end. But by the time we get to 19 here, where we do the steering arms, we'll be opening bag E. So let me get the front and rear arms on and start building up the front assembly here. And then I'll bring you back to take a quick look. Alright, so we're through bag D, and we're about to open bag E, but a lot has happened, so I figured I'd show you. So we built the front steering knuckles, and the knuckle itself is alloy, and then we have our C hub. I'm assuming this ball here would be for an anti-sway bar, because there's definitely a groove in this plastic piece for one. I don't know if the kit comes standard with one or not, but it was definitely a hop-up. Front dog bones are in, upper arms are mounted. There's just a screw that goes down into the C hub. 12mm hexes are on, which the Optima was the first car to ever have. I still believe that's to be correct. And then rear arms are on. They just go in with a pin, and there's a set screw that holds it in place, and the same in the front. So the next step is going to be to get the steering arms made and then start the rear hubs. And then at that point we'll have the makings of a car. And so 19 steering arms, 20 making up the rear hubs, 21 mounting the rear hubs, 22 working on the radio plate and battery tray, 23 mounting the radio plate and battery tray, and then we're going to get into the bag F, which is the shocks. So let me get started by opening bag D, or E, sorry, and getting the steering arms made up. And then when I've got some progress here, I'll bring you back and show you what's going on. It'll probably be pretty close to almost the whole bag. I'll probably stop just short of the radio tray, get the radio tray built together, show it to you, and then mount it. And then the shocks will be essentially the last piece of the puzzle, short of the bumper, what would be the finished electronics. I don't have a motor. The kit does not come with a motor, but I'll probably put the counter gears on anyways. And then the last step is obviously wheels and tires. So, oh, and then we got to build the body up. So yeah, we've actually got quite a bit left to go, but we'll keep pressing here. Steering arms are on. We made them up. The lengths look perfect. And then I built the rear hubs. They went together pretty easily. So Kyosho gives you a couple of different settings. I went with just the manual settings. But these little pieces here, sorry, they slide into the rear hub, and then the hole inside of it is offset 1 degree, 2 degrees, right? So they give you a bunch of different ones. So I went with just the manual setting, which is basically 2 dashes. I'll show it to you in the manual here. So right here, that's the piece that slides into the hub, and then there's a set screw that goes in and holds it in place. So it shows 2 dashes, so that's what I did. I'm not sure what that equates to as far as degrees go. But then, yeah, the dog bone goes in, upper arm mounts with just a screw at the top, and then again your 12mm hex. So now this is the first time we can actually turn and feel the diffs and the drives, and they feel absolutely great. Of course the front one doesn't go into, because only one side is actually going to be driving right now, because that one diff cup was not drilled from step 1. So moving on, we're going to get into building up the radio plate here with the battery bracket, or the, you know, It's really just the shape of the battery bracket. And then the upper metal cowling is going to go on. So we're going to get that done. So I'll build up the whole radio plate, and then maybe I'll show it to you real quick before I actually drop it down and mount it, and then we're going to get into the shocks. So I'm actually going to put this to the side because I don't need it. And I'll get this radio plate built up. Radio plate. So the bracket just bolts on with two screws go into the bracket underneath, and then it had you make up these 4 mounts, 2 in the rear, 2 in the front, and a cross brace. And then there's a body pin here. I'm not sure if it's for the driver or what. And then you get your battery brackets. So the next step is actually going to be to mount this in the car. So these mounts, front and rear, are supposed to go on. They're actually supposed to go on while you're putting it on. So let me see if I can get this lined up right, because it's probably was a bad idea to put them on first, but it is what it is. I'm not the brightest bulb sometimes. It looks like they do fit inside the chassis. So that's the front. Let's see if I can get this back together. Anyways, I'll probably have to mess with this off camera to get it in place. But let me get it bolted up, and I'll show you it real quick before I get to the shocks. All right, we got it. So radio plate's in. There's 2 screws in here that go into that bridge that we put in way back. And then the screws from the side. This slides back and forth for adjustment. And then there's 2 screws in the back, same thing, that go through the side plates. But yeah, I mean, that's essentially the car, short of shocks, wheels, tires, body, and then we still have the counter gear that needs to go on. So the next step is going to be step F, or bag F, where we're actually going to build up the shocks. So I'm going to get them built off camera, and I'll probably just throw them on. Maybe I'll show them to you, we'll see. But I will say, so when Glenn did it, when I sent Glenn his Javelin, and I sent him the extra speed carbon kit for it. So he built the Javelin first as is, and then he put the carbon kit on afterwards, and that must have been a ton of work. So to change all these parts, you're literally breaking the whole car apart. Way easier to do a carbon upgrade, I think, while you're building the car than to do it after the fact. And I get it. He was just trying to get content out of it, which is fine. But I think I have 2 more of those carbon kits, and I was gonna put one on this car, but I think I may leave it alone. We'll have to see. I like the darkness of it. I like the fact that it's like black. But I do have, I've got a rere Optima to build. So the Turbo Optima, I've got 2 of those too, but I'll build one of those, and it'll absolutely be gold. And then I think maybe the Optima chassis, the rere Optima that I'm building, maybe I'll do that one in carbon, but I think I still have another carbon set. So maybe the Javelin will get carbon, but I kind of like all the silver. But I think, you know what it's going to be? It's going to be whatever color I end up leaving it for the body. Now, I love that he did the white one. I think that one looks absolutely awesome, and I think the green looks awesome. I'm probably going to do yellow on this one, but I don't even know that I really love the yellow. Like, I like it, but I think I'm going to have to see what it looks like done. If it's yellow, boy, I don't know. I think it just look awesome dark, but this looks great too. You know, it's so it's so hard. You get this stuff in your head, and it's like, you know, you're always second guessing yourself. These cars look awesome as they are. So it's hard to rip it all apart and put carbon on it, but I know carbon's just going to look awesome too. So, whatever. I am rambling, so let me shut you off and build some shocks, and I'll see you in a second. So that's the shocks done. I didn't put any oil in them just in case I decide to lower it. They feel good though. So next step is front bumper, radio gear, which we're not doing, and then the gear set. So we'll get the gear set in and the cover on, just to keep the pieces on the car. We'll get the front bumper on. And then I believe we're going to get into step. It's finishing the gear set. And then we're going to get into wheels and tires. And bag G, which is putting the body together. So we'll keep moving forward and bring you back when there's something to show you. So that's going to do it for this one. Yellow cage is on. Looks cool. Looks different. I've never seen one in yellow in person. And it does look good. I think it'll look better with decals. I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do as far as if I want to go carbon on this or not. Whether or not I want to change the wheels. I haven't really decided yet. You'll have to let me know in the comments what you think. I know it's hard because there's no decals on it, but do you think it would look better with black wheels? Do you think it would look better with carbon instead? I mean, the parts that are carbon, I don't know how much you'll actually see it. Like, you'll see that piece there. I'm not sure if the motor mount is, but I know the other side is. You would see this part here. Obviously the radio tray would be carbon. And then some of the bracing is carbon, but I don't think you're gonna see it. I'm not sure if the shock towers are carbon. I can't remember. But I think the silver alloy looks great too. I'm just not sure if the yellow works with the red shocks and everything else. But yeah, it kind of is what it is. This car's gonna have to get somewhat disassembled anyways to fix that front diff. And then but we'll get the motor in it and we'll get a running video done. So at the very least, the next video we'll get it decaled. Like I said, maybe we'll put the carbon on, maybe we won't, but we'll get a motor in it and we'll get it ready to go. So thanks for watching. If you're not already subscribed, make sure you subscribe and turn on your notifications so that you won't miss the next video of this. And let me know in the comments what you think of the yellow. I'm not sold on it yet, but it's one of those things that may just have to grow on me a little bit. And in the meantime, we'll wait for the diff package to come in. I've already ordered it so that I can get the front 100%. And we'll see you in the next video when we get it decaled, ready to run. Thanks.